What's going on, everyone? Austin John Place here, and today I'm going to be going over Eevees, IVs, abilities, and everything else you need to know on how to build Pokemon for whatever reason you may want to build Pokemon, mostly Terra Raid battles, in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I do not do competitive Pokemon. I'm a very casual player. I enjoy doing shiny hunts if they're easy and available. I'm enjoying doing Terra Raid dens and things like that. In about 10 days from now, we're going to be having a large influx of casual players who are going to want to be able to build Pokemon to take on raid dens and things like that. There are two general ideas on how you can raise up a Pokemon. One requires more time and one requires more money. If you want to raise up a Pokemon from the very start and have it ready to go, then you can do the money-saving route that is more time extensive, in which case that breeding video I made, it's a half-hour long, I know, I'm sorry, but it has every single piece of information you're going to need on that. This video is going to be focusing on you already have a Pokemon and you want to raise that up and get that ready for raids. You can go online and see pre-made builds that are very good at raids. I've made a few videos covering this myself, but I'm going to be teaching you how you can identify the Pokemon that you have and what you should do for that Pokemon in regard to its individual values or IVs, its effort values or EVs, its nature, and its abilities. For all intents and purposes of this video, I'm going to be choosing this Mankey here. I found it in the wild, it's shiny. I wanted to get it to its final form to Annihilate, and I wanted to get ready to do raids. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at its stats. I'm going to see that its attack is 50 and its special attack is 26. So its attack is significantly better than its special attack. So I'm going to want to focus on this Pokemon's physical attacks. Some Pokemon are going to have a much better special attack stat, and some Pokemon are going to have very similar attack and special attack stats. If its special attack is higher, you're going to want it to be a special attacker. If its physical and special attack are comparable, you may want to take both of those into consideration with the moves that it could learn for the best way to build that Pokemon. If you were to go and look at a Pokemon's moves and the moves that it can remember and the moves that it currently knows, this view isn't going to work for that. Then on this screen, you're going to get a very nice summary of everything about the Pokemon, including its special attack and its physical attack, as well as the various moves it can know. If you look underneath category, you're going to see that little POW icon. That POW icon means that's a physical move and it's going to go off of the base stat of attack. If it has sort of this electric stove burner circle icon, that means that's going to be a special attack, and that's going to go off of the special attack stat. If it has sort of this yin-yang symbol over here, that means that's a status move that is not going to be based off of your attack or your special attack. If you're going through all of the damaging moves that your Pokemon can learn, and almost all of them are physical attacks, and your attack is higher than your special attack, you have a physical Pokemon. If you're going through and you have more special attacks that are stronger, and you have a higher special attack than physical attack stat, that is going to be a special attacker. If its attack and its special attack are both about the same number, and all of its moves are going to be one type, physical or special, you may want to lean in that direction. You could get significantly more complicated than this if you're also going to be factoring in the moves that Pokemon can learn with picnics via Mirror Herb, called egg moves, moves that the Pokemon can pass down through breeding, also called egg moves, TM moves, and a variety of other things. But for now, the very basics of it is look at what the Pokemon can learn, go in that direction. Some Pokemon, like this Azumarill here, will have an ability that kind of changes how the Pokemon's stats are calculated in battle. This will double the Pokemon's attack stat, so this 218 generally acts more like 436. If you're seeing a Pokemon whose stats don't really match up, but it has an ability that enhances one of these stats in a pre-made build somewhere, that's probably why. I'm not gonna lie, I've recorded this section on effort value training like 5 times over, because there's more things I want to put in, and I want to put them in a different order, and I want it to sound coherent to you. And the fact that it's so mixed around in my head, I can only understand if you're not familiar with the concept, how difficult this is to understand. So I'm just going to skip a lot of the math. I'm going to leave out all of the math, and we are just going to go over the simple basics on what needs to be done. If you've been using a Pokemon throughout your entire game, and you hit the L button while he's in your party to look at their stats, it may look something like this. And you're gonna see that you have a big, large blue rectangle, or technically hexagon. Big blue hexagon in a whole bunch of different directions. This means that you have a Pokemon who can no longer be trained in Eevee's effort values. If the Pokemon still has room to grow in effort values, it's not going to be blue, it's just going to be yellow. And you can compare the outside yellow chart, which honestly, ignore that, and then the brighter yellow on the inside. Here we can see this Gyarados, who its yellow chart is just really pointing in that HP direction and nowhere else. This Skeledirge that's been with me my entire time has HP and special attack, and has some attack, and it has some special defense, and it has some speed, and it has some defense. If you're getting this Pokemon ready for raids, you want to focus mainly on its HP stat and its either attack or special attack. One of those two stats, but not both. Unless you're going for a mixed attacker, which I'm not going to recommend and is a whole different thing. Not going to talk about that. Either attack or special attack and HP. Now there are two ways to increase a Pokemon's effort values, but there's only one way to decrease their effort values. The only way to decrease their effort values is going to be by using effort value reducing berries. If you go into your berries tab and you go near the bottom, you're going to be coming across the Pomeg berry is going to decrease your effort values in HP, Kelpsie is going to be for attack, Quailot is going to be for defense, Hondu is going to be for special attack, Greppa is going to be for special defense, and Tomato is going to be for speed. In raid dens, speed is not really important. Defenses are great, but you don't know if you're going to be hit with physical or special attacks. That's the reason we're only focusing on health. And you're going to know if you want attack or special attack. My Skeledirge over there, now it has some effort values in attack, and I don't want it to, because I'm not going to use it as a physical attacker. He only has special moves. So now what I want to do is I want to use Kelpsie Berry, and I want it selected on Skeledirge. I'm going to hit down. That's going to be the maximum amount of berries that I can use to reduce those effort values. It became more friendly, and the base points for its attack can't go any lower. Good. Now I'm also going to use berries to decrease his defense, which is a total of 8. Greppa berries to decrease his special defense, a total of 4. And Tomato berries to decrease his speed, which is going to be 12. He was a speedy boy. So now if I go look back, it's no longer bright blue, and I've trimmed off all of the stats except for HP underneath my camera and special attack right there. This is what you want to do to get a Pokemon ready for raids. They're going to be less effective at other battles because the speed stat is down, but once you're toward level 90 and 100, there's nothing in the game that you're gonna really have trouble outspeeding for most Pokemon anyways. You may have some of these Eevee reducing berries, but in order to get more, you're gonna wanna go throughout this area of East Province, and they're just gonna be some of the glistening spots, or you could go back to Alfornada to where you did the press a button to show your emotion level, and it's a random drop there, or you could go to Porto Maranada and re-roll the auction house by saving your game, turning it off, changing the date, booting the game back up, and you're gonna see different items there. If you don't have the berries, just close the game, reopen the game, that's gonna refresh the items, and you're gonna see some of these 6 items available. They are not expensive, you could get them very easily here. Now that we've covered reducing effort values, or pretty much resetting them, now we're gonna be talking about increasing your effort values. In Mesa Goza, if you head over to Delibird Presents under General Goods, at the very bottom of the list, you're going to be coming across several items, all with the word power at the beginning. I'm going to recommend that you buy 6 power bracers, lenses, and weights. That's going to be for attack, special attack, and HP. These are the only 3 stats I really focus on for raids, and as a general rule of thumb, only ones you want to as well. Everyone is going to be needing power weights for HP, your physical attackers are going to be needing power bracers for attack, and your power lenses for special attack. So now, what I want to do in order to increase my effort values for my specific Pokemon, and in order to get some experience for the party, is I want to now assign these power bracers and lenses to the Pokemon. All of my physical attackers, including Primeape over here, is going to be getting a Power Bracer. Iron Hands is going to get a Power Bracer. And all the special attackers are going to be getting Power Lenses, including Skeledirge and Charizard. From here, we're going to be coming to North Province Area 3 Lighthouse, and you're going to cook a picnic sandwich number 80, which is going to be for the ham sandwich, which is going to give you encounter power normal. From here, we're going to go and we're just going to defeat a bunch of Chansey. If your main Pokemon you're trying to level up is able to knock out these Chansey, cool. If not, it doesn't matter, because all 6 Pokemon in your party, regardless of their level, regardless if they participate in battle or not, are going to be getting these effort values. Chansey is going to be awarding you 2 effort values in health, HP, and the Power Bracer is going to be giving you 8 effort values in whichever stat that Power Bracer is going to be doing, which does mean that if you use the power item for HP, you're going to be getting a total of 10, but it's a little bit more efficient to first focus on your attack stat. So I'm just going ahead and knocking out these Chansey. You could do this with 6 Pokemon in your party. That's the reason I told you to buy 6 items and assign 6 items. So getting 6 Pokemon ready for raids at the same time is going to be the best utilization of your time and resources. Now that I started knocking out these Chansey while Iron Hands is holding the Power Bracer, you're going to see that the hexagon is now pointing out a little bit more toward attack. And I'm just going to keep doing this until attack is maxed out. And then also, because I'm raising up a Primeape, I'm going to do Rage Fist 10 times against this Chansey, because that's one of the requirements for Primeape to evolve, is use Rage Fist 20 times. It doesn't say that it has to connect or knock Pokemon out or anything else. So I'm just gonna do Rage Fist 10 times, have it not connect 10 times. That was my 10th one. I could swap out Pokemon or I could just run away. I'm actually out of low kicks. So I'm just gonna go heal up at the Pokemon Center up the road. Now that I did my 20th Rage Fist, we're just gonna knock out this Chansey. And that's gonna meet the evolution criteria for Primeape to evolve as long as he gets this level, and he does. By the way, if you're going into Terradens, you need a fully evolved Pokemon. Needs to be high enough level. He's purple now. That's neat. So I've now knocked out enough Chansey, that way my attack stat is fully maxed out. So now to utilize my time and resources as good as I can, all I'm gonna do now is swap out Skeledirge's Power Lens, which grows his special attack, because his special attack is now full. Skeledirge, we're gonna take your Power Lens and you're gonna get a Power Weight for your health. And I'm just gonna knock out a few more Chansey because I still have time on my sandwich. I might as well, right? It's just free experience. It's free real estate at this point. So now I'm all done with my Eevee training. Annihilate has HP and attack. Iron Hands has HP and attack. Skeledirge has HP and special attack, so on and so forth from there. There's only 4 points left for the Pokemon to grow, and it doesn't really matter what you put it in. Probably physical defense, and you could have at some point switched from Chansey to a different Pokemon that is more directly focused on attack or special attack to be more efficient at that one stat, but because we're always doing HP, might as well knock out the Chansey, and my Mankey, who was level 24 at the beginning of recording, is now level 64. That concludes everything you need to know about putting effort values onto a Pokemon. Annihilate is now all set up, maxed out in HP and attack. I'm probably just gonna go knock out some Pokemon to get defense stats. Who can I knock out for defense? Tarantula or Scatterbug in the first area. Knock out 4 of those and you're good. But now we need to talk about natures. From the Pokemon stats screen, if you go to the last page, you're gonna see this Pokemon is pretty careful by nature. That means that is the nature that Pokemon had when it was generated, either in the wild, in a raid den, or when hatched from an egg. And if I come over here, I can currently see that my special attack is down and my special defense is up. For an Annihilate, again, he's going to be a physical attacker. So I want to change his nature, and I want it to be a beneficial attack. And again, I don't care about special attack, so I need to go and purchase a corresponding mint in order to achieve that. In the ghost town of Montevera, if you head into Chansey Supply, there are other stores that are going to carry these items. This one is just very convenient. And if you scroll down to the bottom, you're going to see a variety of mints in here. Every mint except for Sirius is going to change your stats, making one of of your stats more predominant and one of them less predominant. But the only ones that you actually need to be consciously aware of for raid builds are going to be Adamant, which is going to give you more attack while taking away special attack, because again, you don't care about it. Modest for the opposite of that, which is going to give you more special attack instead of attack, and that's it. Just those two. Those are really the only ones you need to know about in order for you to make a decision on your own on what nature you want your Pokemon to have. I'm going to go ahead, it'll affect Nihilape's stats. Yes, thank you very much. Now you're going to see that I have the up arrow on attack, and attack is increased, special attack is decreased. Now if you go to the last page, you're going to see that the Pokemon is still listed as careful by nature, because that's still its birth nature. You're never going to replace its birth nature. You're just using a mint to change its current nature. I'm honestly kind of upset that there's no label representation of what that nature is, but that's just the way it is. All you need to do is look at that little red arrow that says up on attack and that little arrow that says down on special attack. That's all you really need to know about natures. It's pretty simple. Now, when it comes to abilities, the vast majority of Pokemon in the game are going to have one or two regular abilities, and then they're going to have one that's called a hidden ability. Hidden abilities can be passed down. They're much harder to get in general, and if you don't have a Pokemon with its hidden ability, the only way for you to get a Pokemon with its hidden ability is for you to find it in a raid den who already has its hidden ability, or for you to complete 6-star raids for a 1% chance to get an item called an ability patch. Now there are ability capsules and there are ability patches. Ability capsules will allow you to swap between the regular abilities of a Pokemon, but an ability patch will allow you to jump from its regular abilities to its hidden ability and back. You almost never want to waste an ability patch on going from a hidden ability to its regular ability. Almost never, just because of how sought after ability patches are and how rare they are to acquire in this game. And for a full list of what abilities Pokemon can have for you to make the decision if you want to use an ability capsule, you should reference sites like Bulbapedia or Cerebi, who are going to list what the natures are and what natures can do what, or just follow a pre-made build. Most pre-made builds are probably going to recommend for you to have its hidden ability, which may not be an option when you start building up Pokemon for the first time. So now the next thing we're going to be talking about is Hypertraining. What is Hypertraining and what stats should you Hypertrain? After you become champion and see the credits, you're going to get what's called the judge function. Inside of the box, using the plus button allows you to see the individual values of these Pokemon. You cannot change the individual values of a Pokemon ever. They are born with them, they are unique to that individual, they will never change. However, you can mask any individual stats that are imperfect. If you have a perfect stat, it's going to say best. That means that numerically, it's 31. Hypertraining requires bottle caps. Bottle caps can be got at Delibird Presents in Mesa Goza. They are very cheap. They're only $20,000. You have to go back to the ghost town of Montevera, and your Pokemon needs to be at least level 50. If the Pokemon is not level 50, you cannot do Hypertraining on it at all. There's also a very rare item called a golden bottle cap, which can be used to raise all of a Pokemon's stats at once. It is very rare, difficult to come by, expensive, and typically you're never going to want to use it. I'm just going to choose all of these stats for now so that we can look back at the stats and see what actually has changed. Because my nature makes it so that I'm not investing in special attack and special attack isn't very useful, you don't need to raise all of a Pokemon's stats via Hypertraining. And for raids, you definitely want to do HP and attack, because those are the two stats that we're trying to max out as much as possible. Now, speed is not very useful inside of Terra Dens, and we don't care about special attack at all. So if you're strapped for cash, definitely focus on your two main stats that you're boosting, HP and attack, or HP and special attack. And then, if you have the extra funds and the extra bottle caps, it may be a good idea to also do defense and special defense. You can, if you really want to, do speed. You don't really need to, and just do not do special attack. From here, start the training, and our Annihilate stats are going to go up even more. From here, our attack is now at 233, which is fantastic. Our special attack is lower than before. You pretty much just need to get the Pokemon's level to 100. And you can go back and do chancy farming like that again, or just start doing raids. 4-star raid Pokemon are level 45 and you should have no problem defeating them with this level 64. But at level 64, you may struggle against some of the 5-star Pokemon. Look at the types that you're going to be facing, take them on, re-roll your day until you can come across ones that you're going to be advantageous to. If you're having too much trouble, just skip it, move on to the next day, and then eventually you're going to have a plethora of experience candy. I can go into more detail about how you should raise up a Pokemon's level, but at the end of the day, once you're at level 70 or so, it's really just candy. That's the only thing you could do. It's going to be the best utilization of your time as a whole. Now, for Annihilate, when looking at the moves that he knows and the moves that he can learn, I know that Rage Fist is definitely going to be the best move for me. I want that in the first spot. I'm going to have same type attack bonus on it. It also just gets more powerful the more hits you take. From here, I'm going to look between the moves that I can relearn and the TM moves, and then reference outside resources like Cerebi or Bulbapedia for what the egg moves are. I know that I want to give him Drain Punch, and I also want to give him Taunt, because Taunt is going to mean that I'm hit with more attacks, which is then going to power up the power of Rage Fist. Drain Punch, I need to defeat more Croagunks. Okay. Taunt is a dark type move. I need to defeat more Sableyes. Okay. And then I'm also going to want to relearn the move Screech, because that's going to lower the opponent's defense, which means that every attack that I do is going to be stronger. The only additional things from here is I'm going to go defeat those Pokemon for those TMs for this Annihilate. I'm going to probably want to change my Terra type at some point so that Rage Fist is going to be even stronger for a Ghost type, and I already have a Fighting type that's really good for raids. And in order to do that, I just need to save up 50 Terra Shards, which is going to be a long, slow grind, but that's just what it is. And that is all of the very simplified information you need to know on how to build a Pokemon. As I mentioned before, I do have a full breeding guide that should be appearing on screen right now, and that's going to help you out if you want to raise a Pokemon from the start, which takes a little bit more time. It is a little bit cheaper. You might want to be doing that for shiny hunting in the first place. If you found this video helpful, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. If there's something I forgot, leave a comment down below. Until next time, Austin John out.